Does the relentless hum of modern life leave you feeling perpetually drained, a phantom limb of energy tethered to an anxious mind? It's a question that echoes in the quiet moments, isn't it? That subtle, persistent feeling of being on the brink, yet never quite arriving. We live in a world that glorifies busyness, that equates constant motion with success, and in this relentless pursuit, we often find ourselves adrift in a sea of unspoken exhaustion. It's not just the long hours or the demanding deadlines, it's the invisible currents of worry that run beneath the surface, the overthinking that spins webs of what-ifs and should-haves, quietly siphoning our vitality. This video is for you, for the one who feels the visceral drag of an unseen weight, for the one whose mind races when the world is supposed to be at rest. We're going to explore this pervasive exhaustion, not as a symptom of weakness, but as a profound signal from our inner selves. We'll delve into the shadowy valleys where anxiety takes root, revealing how these silent saboteurs deplete our energy reserves, leaving us feeling like a flickering candle in a storm. You might recognize this feeling, the knot in your stomach that tightens before a social gathering, the racing thoughts that keep you from falling asleep, the constant low-grade tension that makes even simple decisions feel monumental. It's the feeling of being perpetually on, even when your body is screaming for rest. We've become experts at masking it, haven't we? A forced smile, a quick coffee, a dive back into work, anything to outrun the sensation of depletion. But this isn't sustainable. This internal friction, this constant battle against our own minds, wears us down, bit by bit. It's like carrying a heavy backpack filled with stones, each one representing an unaddressed worry, a past regret, or a future fear. And while we may have learned to carry the weight, we haven't yet learned to set it down. This journey we're embarking on together is about understanding that unseen weight, visualizing its impact, and then, most importantly, discovering how to lighten the load. We're not aiming for a temporary fix, but for a profound shift, a recalibration of your inner landscape that allows you to reclaim your power and reignite your inner spark, moving from a state of mere survival to one of genuine thriving. This isn't about blaming yourself or succumbing to the narrative that you're simply too sensitive or not cut out for the demands of modern life. Instead, it's an invitation to a deeper understanding, a compassionate exploration of the intricate connection between our mental state and our physical and emotional well-being. We'll begin by acknowledging the very real experience of this draining exhaustion, the way it can feel like a constant hum beneath the surface of your everyday life, subtly but surely diminishing your capacity to engage fully, to feel truly present, to access the vibrant energy that you know resides within you. Think of it like a beautiful, intricate tapestry woven with threads of experience, thought, and emotion. When the threads of anxiety and stress become dominant, they can create a dullness, a fraying at the edges, obscuring the brilliance of the original design. Our purpose here is to gently identify those dominant threads, to understand their texture and origin, and to begin the delicate work of weaving in new patterns of peace and resilience. We'll approach this not as a problem to be solved with brute force, but as a mystery to be understood with gentle curiosity. The way we feel is not arbitrary, it's a sophisticated language our bodies and minds use to communicate. When we're constantly running on fumes, it's a sign that something within our internal ecosystem needs attention, needs a different kind of nourishment. This video is designed to be a sanctuary for that exploration, a space where you can feel seen in your struggle and empowered to find your own unique path toward restoration. We will peel back the layers, not to expose vulnerabilities as weaknesses, but to reveal them as gateways to profound self-discovery and healing. It's about recognizing that the relentless hum of anxiety isn't an insurmountable barrier, but a signal, a call to re-engage with ourselves on a deeper, more loving level. Prepare to witness the subtle yet profound shift that occurs when we begin to consciously tend to our inner world, transforming exhaustion into a wellspring of renewed vitality and purpose. The journey we're about to take is one of reclamation. It's about understanding how the unseen currents of stress and anxiety can silently, insidiously, siphon your vitality, leaving you in a state of constant exhaustion, feeling like you're running on empty. We'll dive deep into the shadowy valleys of overthinking, exploring its roots and its impact, and then we will ascend together to the sunlit peaks of restoration and well-being. You'll experience the visceral drag of worry, visualized as an unseen weight that anchors you down, and then you will witness the subtle yet profound shift that occurs as we uncover actionable strategies to reclaim your power. This is a visually rich narrative, connecting the unseen struggles within to tangible solutions, painting a vivid picture of how to not just survive, but truly thrive, by harmonizing your mental landscape and reigniting your inner spark. It's time to move beyond the hum of exhaustion and step into the symphony of your own vibrant energy. This is an invitation to a different kind of conversation, one that speaks directly to the heart of your experience. The feeling of being drained, of carrying an invisible burden, is a shared human experience, amplified by the demands of our modern world. But within this shared struggle lies the potential for profound transformation. We're not here to offer quick fixes or superficial remedies. Instead, we're here to embark on a journey of deep inner exploration, to understand the intricate ways that stress and anxiety impact our energy, our joy, and our ability to connect. This is about reclaiming your vitality, not by pushing harder, but by understanding more deeply, by learning to listen to the wisdom of your own body and mind. Prepare to be guided through a process of gentle awareness, leading to tangible shifts that will help you not just cope, but truly flourish. The relentless hum of modern life, as we've touched upon, can indeed feel like a constant drain, a subtle yet pervasive erosion of our inner vitality. Now, consider how this manifests in the realm of our internal dialogue, the often unseen conversations we have with ourselves. This isn't merely about worrying, it's about the very architecture of our thought patterns, the ingrained habits of interpretation that can amplify minor stressors into overwhelming burdens. For instance, when faced with a challenging email, someone prone to anxious rumination might immediately jump to catastrophic conclusions. This means I'm failing, or they're going to fire me. This isn't a rational assessment of the situation, but rather a deeply embedded emotional response, a defense mechanism that, while perhaps once protective, now fuels the exhaustion. It's as if our internal alarm system has become hypersensitive, triggering a full-blown emergency response for even the slightest perceived threat, diverting precious energy that could be used for creativity, connection, or simple rest. Building on this, we can observe how these cognitive patterns often stem from our early life experiences and the attachment styles we developed. If, for example, a primary caregiver was inconsistent or emotionally unavailable, a child might grow up with an underlying sense of insecurity, a constant, low-level vigilance for signs of rejection or abandonment. This translates into adulthood as a tendency to overthink interactions, to scan for subtle cues of disapproval, and to interpret ambiguous situations through a lens of potential threat. Consequently, even positive interactions can be tinged with anxiety, as the mind unconsciously searches for evidence to confirm its deeply held, albeit inaccurate, beliefs about oneself and the world. This internal script, written in the early chapters of our lives, can continue to dictate the narrative of our present, perpetuating cycles of stress and depletion without our conscious awareness. Furthermore, the very structure of our daily routines can inadvertently reinforce these patterns. The constant bombardment of notifications, the pressure to multitask, and the glorification of being always on create an environment where deep, restorative thought is actively discouraged. When we're perpetually switching contexts, our brains don't have the opportunity to settle into a state of focused calm. Instead, they remain in a state of agitated readiness, akin to a finely tuned instrument constantly being plucked. This cognitive fragmentation, this inability to fully disengage from the demands of the external world, leads to a peculiar kind of fatigue, not just physical exhaustion, but a profound mental weariness, a sense of being mentally overdrawn. It's like trying to hold water in a sieve. No matter how much you pour in, it inevitably leaks away. Another crucial layer to consider is the somatic experience of this anxiety. Our bodies are not separate from our minds, they are intricately linked. When we are caught in cycles of worry and overthinking, our nervous systems remain in a heightened state of alert. This can manifest as chronic muscle tension, digestive issues, disrupted sleep patterns, and a general feeling of being on edge. These physical symptoms are not merely byproducts of stress, they are active participants in the cycle, sending feedback signals to the brain that further reinforce the anxious state. For example, a tight jaw or a churning stomach can be interpreted by the brain as confirmation that something is indeed wrong, perpetuating the very feelings that are causing the discomfort. It's a self-reinforcing loop, where mental unease translates into physical distress, which in turn amplifies the mental unease, creating a pervasive sense of unwellness that saps our energy. Conversely, the way we frame our challenges plays a significant role in how much energy they consume. If we perceive a difficult situation as an insurmountable obstacle, an indictment of our capabilities, it immediately becomes a far greater drain than if we view it as a temporary setback, an opportunity for learning and growth. This reframing isn't about denying reality or adopting a Pollyanna-ish outlook, it's about consciously choosing a perspective that empowers rather than paralyzes. Consider a project deadline that feels impossibly tight. One internal response might be, "This is too much, I can't possibly do it, I'm going to fail." This thought process triggers a cascade of anxiety, leading to procrastination and further energy depletion. Another response, however, could be, "This is challenging, but I can break it down into smaller steps and focus on one task at a time. What's the most important thing I can do right now?" This latter approach, while still acknowledging the difficulty, shifts the focus from the overwhelming outcome to manageable action, conserving precious mental and emotional resources. Understanding these internal patterns, the way our thoughts, our history, our routines, and our physical sensations intertwine, is the first step in disarming the silent saboteurs of our vitality. It's about recognizing that the exhaustion you feel is not a personal failing, but a signal, a complex interplay of learned responses and environmental pressures. By bringing awareness to these often unseen mechanisms, we begin to loosen their grip, creating space for a more balanced, energized, and fulfilling experience of life. This awareness is the seed from which true restoration can grow, allowing us to move beyond the mere hum of existence and towards a vibrant, resonant life. Reflecting on this journey so far, we've traced the intricate pathways through which the modern pace of life can subtly erode our inherent vitality, leaving us feeling depleted. It's as if we've been navigating a landscape where the air itself is thick with unspoken demands, each breath requiring a greater effort, each step a heavier toll. The internal dialogues we've explored, the ingrained patterns of thought, are not isolated incidents but rather interconnected currents that, when flowing unchecked, can create a powerful undertow, pulling us away from our natural state of equilibrium. These aren't merely abstract concepts. They are the lived realities that shape our daily experience, influencing how we perceive challenges, how we engage with others, and ultimately, how we feel within our own skin. The cumulative effect of these subtle drains is akin to a slow, persistent leakage from a vessel that was meant to be full, leaving us perpetually trying to replenish what is being steadily lost. As we pivot towards the final reflection, consider how the insights gained have begun to illuminate the interconnectedness of our inner world with our outward experience. The very fabric of our mental and emotional landscape, once seemingly opaque, now reveals a more discernible pattern, a complex interplay of forces that shape our energetic reserves. This understanding doesn't negate the challenges we face, rather, it empowers us to approach them with a renewed sense of agency, recognizing that the capacity for restoration lies not in external circumstances alone, but within our own inner terrain. The journey has been about recognizing the subtle yet significant ways our internal systems respond to external pressures, and how these responses, over time, can either deplete or replenish our vital energy. In light of these insights, the path forward becomes clearer, not as a rigidly defined route, but as a gentle unfolding of possibilities. We've moved from acknowledging the pervasive feeling of exhaustion to understanding its deeper roots and the mechanisms that sustain it. This shift in perspective is crucial, as it moves us from a position of passive reception to one of active engagement with our own well-being. It's like realizing that the fog obscuring the horizon isn't an impenetrable barrier, but a temporary condition that can be navigated with awareness and intention. The awareness itself begins to thin the mist, allowing us to perceive the landscape with greater clarity and to chart a course that honors our innate need for balance and rejuvenation. The resonance of these explorations is building, creating a quiet anticipation for the final understanding that awaits. The journey through the relentless hum, the quiet siphon of vitality, has revealed not a deficit within you, but a profound wisdom signaling a need for gentle recalibration. You've journeyed from the shadowy valleys of overthinking, where anxiety weaves its invisible threads, to a burgeoning awareness of your own capacity for restoration. This isn't about eradicating the challenges of modern life, for they are an inherent part of our collective experience. Instead, it's about cultivating an inner sanctuary, a space of conscious awareness where the constant hum can soften, where the siphoning of energy can be recognized and gently redirected. Think of it not as fighting the tide, but as learning to navigate its currents with grace and intention, understanding when to draw strength from within and when to allow yourself the profound gift of stillness. The exhaustion you've felt is not a sign of weakness, but a deeply intelligent communication from your being, an invitation to reconnect with your own essential rhythm. This understanding, honed through our exploration, offers a powerful implication that your vitality is not a finite resource to be guarded jealously, but an ever-replenishing wellspring, accessible through mindful engagement with your inner landscape. The patterns of thought and the somatic responses we've uncovered are not immutable destinies, but learned habits that can be consciously unlearned and rewoven with threads of self-compassion and resilience. The true practice, then, is not in achieving a state of perpetual calm, but in embracing the dynamic ebb and flow of your inner world with acceptance and curiosity. It's about recognizing that each moment of perceived depletion holds within it the seed of renewal, an opportunity to choose a different response, a gentler narrative. This is the subtle yet profound shift, moving from a reactive existence to a responsive one, where your inner spark is not extinguished by external pressures, but rather fanned into a steady, radiant flame. As you step forward from this reflection, carry with you the understanding that your capacity for thriving is not dependent on the absence of challenges, but on the presence of inner awareness and the courage to tend to your own energetic well-being. The hum of life will continue, but you are now equipped with the tools to find your own harmonious frequency within it. This is not an endpoint, but a beginning, the beginning of a more conscious, vibrant,